The silent risk every woman over 60 ignores until it's too late. Imagine this. You wake up one quiet morning, sit by the window with a warm cup of tea, sunlight resting on your hands. Everything feels calm on the outside, but inside something silent has been happening for years. Doctors often call it natural aging, but in truth, it's the result of something almost every woman over 60 has unknowingly neglected: intimate self-care. Here's the truth few people dare to say. When you stop caring for this part of yourself, your body doesn't just weaken. You lose hormone balance. You lose independence in ways you never expected. And sometimes, you lose the very sense that you are still fully alive. I know, this may feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little taboo. But think about it. When we talk about cholesterol, exercise, or diet, nobody hesitates. Yet when we talk about a woman's intimate health, suddenly the room goes silent. Today, we're going to break that silence. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 4 hidden consequences of ignoring self-intimacy after 60, the changes in your tissues, your hormones, your freedom, and even your identity. But more importantly, I'll show you gentle, proven ways to protect yourself starting now. So if you've ever wondered why your energy has faded, why joy feels distant, or why your body no longer feels like your own, please don't look away. This might be the most important conversation you'll have for your health this year. And before we dive in, I'd love for you to subscribe and share this video with a sister, a daughter, or a friend. Because no woman deserves to feel invisible. Not at 60, not ever. Let's begin with the very first change most women never see coming: the silent weakening of intimate tissues. Let's start with something most women are never told: the quiet weakening of intimate tissues. When self-intimacy is ignored, circulation in this delicate area gradually decreases. Blood flow that once nourished those tissues begins to slow, leaving them thinner, drier, and less resilient. It's not simply a matter of discomfort. It's like taking away sunlight from a garden. Without attention and nourishment, even the most vibrant flowers begin to wilt. I've spoken to countless women who described it in simple words. It feels like that part of me has gone to sleep. But here's the difficult truth. Without stimulation, those tissues don't just fall asleep. They begin to lose strength permanently. Over time, elasticity fades. Sensitivity decreases. Even the smallest touch can become uncomfortable, sometimes even painful. And this change doesn't happen overnight. It's so gradual that you might not notice until one day you realize that laughter, movement, or closeness feels different, more restricted, less joyful. Many women blame age, thinking, well, this is just what happens after 60. But science tells us a different story. It's not simply aging, it's neglect. And neglect is something we can change. Why does this matter? Because intimate tissue health is not only about closeness or desire. It directly affects your confidence in daily life. How freely you move, how comfortably you sit, even how willing you are to go out, socialize, and stay connected to the world. For some women, dryness or irritation becomes so constant that they stop exercising, stop enjoying simple walks, or stop saying yes to gatherings with friends. Without realizing it, they shrink their world. But here's the hopeful part. These tissues are remarkably responsive. Even gentle, consistent self-care can restore circulation and vitality. Think of it as waking up a part of yourself that had been quietly dozing off for years. You don't need hours or complicated routines. Simple practices can make a difference. For example, try a warm compress ritual. Place a soft, warm cloth over your lower abdomen or pelvic area for just a few minutes each day. This gentle heat increases blood flow, preparing tissues to stay more supple. Pair that with light pelvic stretches or mindful breathing that directs awareness to this area, and you begin to reawaken circulation. And if you feel shy or uncertain, remind yourself, this is not vanity, it's not indulgence, it's healthcare. Just as you brush your teeth to protect your smile or walk daily to strengthen your heart. Caring for intimate tissues is an act of protecting your freedom and vitality. I once had a patient, 68 years old, who told me she felt like her body was betraying her, until she began a simple nightly routine of warmth, breath, and touch. Within months, she noticed she could move with more comfort, sit longer without irritation, and even laugh more freely. Her words stayed with me. It wasn't about being younger. It was about feeling like myself again. So remember this: intimate tissues may be quiet, but they are not silent. They're speaking to you in every moment of dryness, tightness, or loss of ease. And you have the power to answer back with care. And while tissues are the foundation, they're just the beginning. Because what happens inside your hormones and your brain may surprise you even more. If the weakening of tissues is the silent foundation, then hormones are the hidden orchestra. When you ignore self-intimacy, it's not only your body that changes, it's your brain chemistry, your mood, and even your outlook on life. Let's talk about the feel-good chemicals most of us know by name: oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. These aren't just pleasant extras. They're the natural medicine cabinet your own body carries within. Every time you nurture yourself through touch, closeness, or gentle connection, your brain releases these hormones. They lower stress, balance emotions, strengthen immunity, and help you sleep more soundly. But what happens when you stop? The release of these vital hormones slows down. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, decreases, leaving you feeling less connected not only to others, but sometimes even to yourself. Dopamine, the motivation hormone, drops, making everyday joys feel duller. Endorphins, your natural painkillers, weaken, so aches and discomfort grow louder. It's a ripple effect. A woman once told me, "I thought I was just getting older, but really it felt like my sparkle was fading." That sparkle wasn't age. It was the missing cascade of hormones her body once produced naturally. This doesn't mean you need to chase prescriptions or complicated therapies right away. While medication has its place, many women don't realize they already carry a pharmacy inside their bodies, one that can be gently reawakened through mindful, intimate self-care. Here's a simple practice I often recommend. Pair intentional touch with breathing and gratitude. Start by placing your hands over your heart or abdomen, breathing slowly and deeply. With each breath, think of one thing you're grateful for. Maybe your grandchildren's laughter, the comfort of your home, or the strength that carried you through challenges. As you combine gentle touch with deep gratitude, your body naturally releases oxytocin and dopamine. Science shows this simple pairing can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and even improve sleep quality. Think of it like watering a dry field. At first, the soil resists, but with consistent drops, the earth softens, flowers return, and vitality spreads. Hormones respond in the same way. They may seem dormant, but they are waiting for your invitation. And let's not forget, these hormones don't only affect you. When oxytocin flows, you feel warmer, more patient, more connected. That energy radiates to your family, your friendships, and even casual conversations at church or in the grocery store. People notice when a woman carries light in her eyes again. I recall one of my patients, Carol, who confessed that she felt irritable and withdrawn for years after menopause. She thought her family simply had to accept her new normal. But after reintroducing gentle self-care and daily breathing rituals, she described herself differently. I feel like a kinder version of me came back. That's the gift of hormones. They restore not only your body, but your spirit. So remember, neglecting intimacy is not just a physical issue. It's a chemical one. And when you bring awareness back to your body, you aren't just maintaining tissues. You're unlocking the natural medicine your brain has been waiting to give you all along. But hormones are only part of the story. There's another area most women never think about, an area that silently determines your independence, your pelvic floor, the hidden foundation of freedom. If tissues are the surface and hormones are the invisible orchestra, then the pelvic floor is the foundation, the quiet framework holding everything in place. And just like the foundation of a house, you don't notice it until it starts to weaken. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles that support your bladder, uterus, and bowels. They're responsible for something most of us take for granted: control, stability, and freedom of movement. But here's the hidden cost of ignoring intimate self-care. Without stimulation and use, these muscles slowly weaken. And when they do, everyday life begins to change in ways that feel deeply personal. It often begins with small leaks when laughing, coughing, or exercising. For some women, it progresses to sudden urges they can't control. What starts as a physical issue quickly becomes an emotional one. Many women begin to avoid long walks, decline outings, or feel anxious in social gatherings, always worrying, "What if I have an accident?" One of my patients, Margaret, put it in heartbreaking words: "It wasn't the leaks that broke me. It was the fear of leaving my house." That fear is real, and yet it's not inevitable. Science is clear. The pelvic floor responds powerfully to consistent care. It's like a muscle you can train, strengthen, and reclaim, no matter your age. The good news? You don't need expensive equipment or long hours at the gym. Sometimes, just 2 minutes a day can make a life-changing difference. Here's a simple example. Try stand-in Kegel exercises while brushing your teeth. Twice a day, as you brush, gently contract the muscles you would use to stop urination. Hold for 3 seconds, release, and repeat 10 times. That's it. In the time it takes to care for your smile, you're also protecting your freedom. Pairing these exercises with light self-intimacy routines, like warmth, massage, or breathing, multiplies the benefits. The more circulation you bring to this area, the more responsive and resilient those muscles become. And the results aren't just physical. Women often describe a return of confidence, energy, and even pride. Margaret, the same woman who once feared leaving her house, began her pelvic floor routine at age 72. Within 6 months, she reported fewer leaks, more laughter with friends, and the courage to join her church choir again. She told me, "I felt like I got my freedom papers signed. The pelvic floor is more than anatomy. It's your independence, your dignity, and your connection to the life you love. Neglecting it can make the world feel smaller and scarier. Caring for it reopens doors. So if you've ever accepted leaks or weakness as just part of aging, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be. This foundation can be rebuilt, and when you strengthen it, you don't just hold your bladder. You hold on to your freedom. But the deepest cost of neglect isn't only in the body. It reaches into the heart and the soul, into how you see yourself, and whether you still feel like the woman you've always been. Physical changes can be measured: thinning tissues, shifting hormones, weakening muscles. But the hardest part isn't written in any medical chart. It's the silent loss of self, the emotional disconnection that creeps in when intimacy fades. For many women, intimacy is not just about pleasure. It's about identity. It's about still feeling like a woman, desirable, whole, alive. When self-care of the intimate areas is neglected, this identity can begin to feel distant, like a beloved song you can barely hear anymore. It often begins quietly. You may start avoiding closeness with your partner, making excuses, or retreating from touch that once brought joy. The fear of pain, the dryness, the anxiety of, "What if I can't respond?" becomes louder than the desire itself. Over time, partners may stop reaching out too, not from lack of love, but from uncertainty. And suddenly, two people who once shared laughter, touch, and warmth sit side by side, feeling worlds apart. One woman I worked with, Elaine, described it through tears. "I looked in the mirror and didn't see a wife anymore. I saw a stranger who was just existing." That feeling, that somehow you're losing the essence of yourself, is something no lab test can detect. But it is real and it is heavy. The danger of ignoring self-care isn't just physical discomfort. It's this slow erosion of identity. When intimacy fades, many women feel they've lost a vital part of their womanhood. And with that comes sadness, sometimes even shame, and often loneliness, even in a room full of loved ones. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to. This loss is not final. The body and spirit are remarkably responsive when given care, attention, and love. By nurturing your intimate health through hydration, gentle touch, pelvic floor exercises, natural lubricants, and open conversations, you send a signal not just to your body, but to your soul. I still matter. I am still me. Studies consistently show that women who engage in regular self-care of intimate areas report not only better physical outcomes, but also higher self-esteem, improved mood, and stronger connections with their partners. Because when you care for yourself, you reclaim your sense of worth. And from that worth, confidence and connection naturally follow. Elaine, the woman who once felt like a stranger, began her journey with the smallest step: 5 minutes of daily care with a natural moisturizer. Slowly, she reintroduced gentle exercises, and eventually, she felt safe enough to talk openly with her husband about her fears. 6 months later, her eyes sparkled as she told me, "I don't just feel like a wife again. I feel like myself again." That is the power of self-care. It is not vanity, and it is not selfish. It is remembering that intimacy is not just about bodies. It's about identity, connection, and joy. When you honor your intimate health, you're not just preserving tissues. You're preserving your story, your relationships, and your deepest sense of self. And as you begin to heal that emotional connection, there's another gift waiting. A gift that surprises many women. The return of joy, energy, and even a kind of spiritual renewal that flows through every part of life. When women begin to care for their intimate health again, whether through gentle exercises, moisturizers, or simple daily rituals, something remarkable happens. It's not just about comfort or about avoiding pain. It's about awakening joy. So many of my patients have told me, I feel like I came back to life. That's because self-care in this area is more than a medical routine. It's an act of honoring your whole being. And when you do that, the effects ripple outward, touching every corner of your life. One woman, Marjorie, age 76, had spent years living in quiet resignation. She wasn't in pain, but she felt invisible, like life was moving around her while she stood still. When she began to reintroduce simple, intimate self-care, something shifted. Within weeks, she noticed not only more comfort in her body, but a change in her spirit. She started dressing in brighter colors, calling her friends more often, and even taking up dance again at her local community center. She laughed and said, "It feels like someone turned the lights back on inside me." This isn't magic. It's biology and spirit working together. When you nurture your body in this way, blood flow improves, hormones rebalance, and mood-regulating chemicals like oxytocin and serotonin are released. These are the same chemicals that foster happiness, reduce stress, and create a sense of connection. But beyond the science lies something even deeper: the restoration of identity and vitality. For women of faith, this process often feels spiritual. I've heard many say, "It's like I've reconnected with the part of myself God gave me, the part I thought was gone forever." For others, it's simply a return to wholeness, a reminder that their bodies, even with age, are still capable of joy, warmth, and connection. It's important to understand that this isn't about performance, and it isn't about anyone else's expectations. It's about you, your healing, your vitality, your right to feel alive in your own skin. Self-care in later life is not indulgent, it's sacred. It's a way of saying, I am still here and I still matter. Research from leading health institutions confirms this truth. Women who maintain some form of intimate engagement, whether with a partner or through self-care, report higher quality of life, stronger memory, and greater resilience against stress. But perhaps most importantly, they report feeling more like themselves. And isn't that what we all long for? To wake up each day not just existing, but living with energy, purpose, and joy. Marjorie's story is just one of many. I've seen women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s step into this healing and emerge with more laughter, more confidence, and a renewed sense of belonging in their own bodies. Their faces soften, their posture straightens, and their eyes shine again. That is the gift waiting for you. Not just a healthier body, but a renewed spirit. And it begins with small, gentle steps of self-care that honor who you are today, not who you once were. And as we come to the close of this conversation, there is one final truth I want you to hold on to. The truth that intimacy at any age is not about indulgence at all. It is about wholeness, dignity, and the right to thrive. My dear friend, we've walked together through some tender truths. We've seen how neglecting intimate self-care in later life doesn't just affect the body. It touches the heart, the mind, the very soul of who we are as women. From discomfort and vulnerability, to emotional distance, to the painful sense of losing pieces of ourselves, these are real struggles, but they are not the final chapter. Because here is the truth that matters most. It is never too late to choose yourself again. Your body is not a finished story. It is a living, breathing part of you that can still respond, still heal, and still radiate joy if you give it gentle attention. I want you to remember something important. Self-care is not selfish. It is not vanity. It is a form of love. The kind of love that sustains not only you, but the people who love you. When you nurture your health, when you honor your intimate well-being, you are giving your family and friends the gift of your vitality, your laughter, your presence. Maybe you're listening right now and feeling a quiet tug inside, a voice saying, "Could this be possible for me? Could I feel alive again?" The answer is yes, 1,000 times yes. No matter your age, no matter how many years you've carried discomfort or silence, your body still longs to be cared for. And the smallest step, a glass of water, a gentle moisturizer, a few minutes of movement, an honest conversation, can open the door to transformation. You don't have to do it all at once. Healing begins in the smallest of whispers, not in grand gestures. What matters most is the choice to begin. If this message has touched something in your heart, I invite you to take one action today. Just one. Maybe it's talking with your doctor. Maybe it's reaching for a natural self-care product. Maybe it's simply looking in the mirror and saying, "I am still worthy. I am still whole." And if you've found comfort or encouragement here, I ask gently, please share this message with another woman in your life who might be quietly carrying these same questions. You never know whose spirit might be lifted by your willingness to pass this truth forward. Before we close, I want to leave you with this. Your age does not diminish your worth. Your wrinkles do not erase your beauty. And your body, even in its changes, is still sacred, still alive, still capable of joy. You are not forgotten. You are not broken. You are still here, and you still matter. So let today be the day you reclaim your story. Choose to honor your body, to nurture your intimacy, and to live with dignity and delight. The next chapter of your life is waiting, and it can be brighter, softer, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. If this conversation has spoken to you, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video. Together, we can create a circle of women who remind each other of this truth. We are worthy, we are whole, and we are never alone.